Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to my colleagues for your indulgence and attention. If I could have the attention of the body, please. I rise today to honor a man who has dedicated his life and career to this place and our state and the people we serve. Bear with me, as some of what you're going to hear may seem more suitable for a memorial resolution, but I'm a big believer in giving someone their flowers while they can still enjoy them. Matt Jones has served the office of the state's Attorney Appellate Prosecutor and Illinois State's Attorneys Association since 2009. For years, he's been the voice of state's attorneys in our capital, building relationships across party, ideology, and geography, always focused on crafting the best possible policies for our state. And I want to acknowledge that some of Matt's coworkers are here in the speakers gallery. Pat Delfino, David Robinson, and Sherry Smiley are here to honor our friend Matt as well. I first met Matt in the 90s. I was as green as can be new lobbyist for the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, and he was Pate Phillips' attorney on the Senate Judiciary Committee. So of course, it was love at first sight. It actually really was. We recognized each other's inner policy nerds and commitment to service and operated from a place of honor and respect from that moment forward. Over the years, our relationship grew to include our spouses and kids and pets and our fair share of shared joys and sadness. In other words, an amazing and treasured friendship. 4 years ago, I got a call from Senator L.G. Sims. L.G. was on Senate Democratic staff at the same time Matt and I met, and we still have a little crew of folks from those days who are also in the gallery now. L.G. was leaving the hospital in Peoria, where he had detoured on the way to Springfield after learning Matt had been hospitalized. He was diagnosed that week with glioblastoma, a relentless beast of a monster cancer I've already lost people to, and I feared the worst. Never one to take no for an answer, Matt and Sandy and their medical team have been just as relentless, buying us so much time we didn't expect to have with Matt. He's been able to be around to see his kids achieve amazing things, and they've seen their dad fight like hell to be there for them. Recently, we got the news no cancer patient wants to hear. The tumor was growing again. In a cascade of bad luck, Matt was then diagnosed with whooping cough and pneumonia and suffered a series of seizures that have impacted his ability to communicate, but not his incredible intellect. Together, Matt and Sandy made the decision to move to hospice care, where Matt has been for a little more than a week. Many of you have contributed to a GoFundMe to help with the costs that are not covered by insurance, organized by our pal, Pete Baroni. And I am so thankful to everyone who has tried in any way to provide some support and relief to them. Sandy is live streaming this special series of points of personal privilege from some of his colleagues in the chamber. Knowing that they also shared a special bond, I reached out to our former colleague, Mary Flowers, and asked her about her relationship with Matt. She immediately responded with, "We used to argue all the time, but we always loved each other." She shared stories of debating him over juvenile justice issues and racial bias and policing and said, "We were always able to speak truthfully to each other. To me, that's what we're missing most here, and it's what I will miss most about him." Matt, thank you for your friendship, your example of selfless service, and your passion for your positions that you never let get in the way of rational discussion and collaboration. Your wicked humor and your incredibly open heart. I love you, Sandy, Ben, and Emmy to the moon and back. Thank you.
Leader Gordon Booth, for which purpose do you seek recognition?
One moment, Mr. Speaker. I should have been better prepared.
Take your time, leader.
I met Matt Jones. I met Matt Jones in a precinct in my district. I was running for state representative, and Matt Jones was there working for my opponent. And he was working like hell to make sure that I did not win. He was very loyal to his candidate, and I didn't like him at the time, and he really was irritating me. And my election attorney, because he was vociferous in his advocacy for his candidate. And obviously, things worked out well for me, and we began to work together down here. And at the time, my mother was still living, and I shared with my mother this encounter that happened in the precinct that day. And my mother had few choice words. And she said, "I know his mother. I should call his mom." And you know, we come from a community that is very close-knit. People where we live, they ask, "What's your last name? Who are your people?" My mother knew his mother, and I began to know Matt, not just as a Peorian, but as someone who carried a lot of weight down here in Springfield. Someone who carried a big stick when it came to issues related to justice and advocacy. And I share the story in the beginning of our relationship because, as you can tell, that certainly isn't where the relationship ended. Matt and I, over this last 15 years, our professional and personal relationship, our family's relationship, took on an entire other color. The work that we were able to do down here on behalf of people that have sought justice for many years, you know, some people may or may not know it, but there are a lot of pieces of legislation that have advanced justice over the years. I hope I'm not taking away your cred, Matt. But it wouldn't have been possible if Matt had not worked to bring some consensus within his association. I'm sure at times to his own peril, professionally. It wasn't easy for him to go back to his association and provide advocacy for bills to the likes that a Representative Cassidy may have been supporting, or Chairman Slaughter, or myself. But he knew that it was the right thing to do, and he was willing to go back and advocate for what was right, even when professionally it was incredibly difficult. That's hard to find these days. It's incredibly hard to come by in this place and in the world. And when I think about where we sit in the world today, big and little, Lord, we are in so desperate need of people that can disagree and still have the ability to move forward and find common ground. As difficult as that may seem like, it's what we have to do. And for those of us that have worked on issues on the opposite sides of people and have been vociferous in our advocacy for those that we care about, we have to find a way. We have to find a way to work together. We cannot allow disagreements or the fact that somebody tried to get you unelected to turn the work that we do into a finite game. This is an infinite game, and we have to center that. And I just thank Sandy and Ben and Emmy. I will never forget that dinner that we had at Hibachi 6 months ago. My family and his family, and talking about Ben going to Florida State University. You know, ladies and gentlemen, time is this fleeting thing. And we always think that we have so much of it. Sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. And I would dare say that we don't know what life has for us, but I will say that if we all lead lives full of purpose, driven by the things that we believe and the values that we hold, we make the difference that we can with the time that we're given, and we love those that love us and even those that don't. I pray that it will sit well with all of our souls at the end, because whether we know it or not, we are all on that path. And I thank God that I had the ability to build a relationship and a friendship with someone like Matt Jones, who I will carry with me for the rest of my days, because I know that how a relationship starts does not determine how one will end or continue. Matt, we love you, we cherish you, we honor you, and we uplift you. God bless Matt Jones.
Leader Spain, for which purpose do you seek recognition?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A point of personal privilege.
Please state your point.
Ladies and gentlemen of the House, and thank you to both previous speakers for their beautiful and eloquent words. Leader Gordon Booth just talked about time. There are only a few moments in time here in the Illinois House of Representatives where time stands still. Sometimes those have been legendary stopping of the clock at midnight on May 31st, but it's today stopping time in dedication to an incredible public servant of Matt Jones on the middle of a final deadline week here in the House. And Matt, I know that you're watching from your room back in Peoria with Sandy, and I know you'd appreciate how special it is for time to stand still at this moment on this third deadline reading week in the Illinois House. And it's so fitting and proper that we should take this time, and that you would want to celebrate someone whose unique life has been lived so exquisitely that we're seeing these heartfelt tributes from leaders on both sides of the aisle for a man who has long been a great friend to me in Peoria. I started as a youngster in politics at 23 years old, running for the city council, and was approached by Matt Jones, a true political genius in every sense of the word, and someone who was a diehard and dedicated Republican, 100%. And I'm sure, Jahan, he was working very hard against you in 2008. And you're exactly right that from those initial experiences have come these lifetimes of friendship that have emerged as such a special person only could do. And I know many of us have gotten to work with Matt Jones in his work on behalf of appellate prosecutors and state's attorneys and criminal justice reform, but many of you may not have had the chance to know Matt Jones. We need more Matt Jones people in this Capitol, in our world today. If you think about some of the discussions that we've had on this House floor over the last several weeks, they've been tough discussions, back and forth, difficult critiques and criticism. And here we are stopping for this beautiful moment to memorialize someone who has given so much to our state. Matt, he's experienced these health challenges and bravely fought brain cancer for the last several years, still has not been a stranger to this place he loves so much. I remember when Matt Jones gave me the back of the house tour of the Capitol, teaching me when I first began working in this building where to go and who to know, and how to get things done, and where to find the secret bathrooms that are sometimes important, or how to get away from people for a moment of quiet reflection. He did all of those things to so many of us because he cared about this institution as an Illinois General Assembly, as a state government. And even for the last several years, you may have seen Matt Jones. You would have recognized him as a guy walking around with a battery backpack and an electro do-rag on, helping with his health conditions, and it didn't slow him down a bit. In fact, we tried to get him to slow down around this building, and he was still here wanting to do his work, wanting to maintain relationships, and most importantly, and shockingly, you would think, but if you knew Matt Jones, he was here to help you. He wanted to know, what did you need? How could he be of assistance? What were the local issues you were working on? What relationships did you need help with? And that is Matt Jones to a T. Even struggling in the epic struggle of his life with glioblastoma, working hard to just help others and be the public servant that we all know and love. Matt Jones, we appreciate your life. We reach up to you, to Sandy, to Ben, to Emmy. We love your entire family, and we just thank and appreciate you for all that you have given to the state of Illinois. Matt, we love you. God bless.
Representative Weaver, for which reasons do you seek recognition?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Point of personal privilege.
Please state your point.
Wow, where to begin with a man like Matt? What a tremendous honor. I was thinking a little bit just about this kind of ragtag contingency that we have down here, Peorians, and we have some in the House, some in the Senate, some staff, some lobbyists, and I think the relationship that we have is so much like siblings. Fierce competitors can go toe-to-toe, but also such appreciation, love, and respect, because we know that we all care so deeply about this city that we came down here to represent. And so the first day I ever met Matt Jones, we were on the wide staircase coming up here, and he stopped me. Hi, I'm Matt Jones, nice to meet you. And anytime, I'm probably my first year, anytime you meet somebody new, you're kind of like, who's this person? What do they want from me? And he says, I'm from Peoria. I live just a mile from your house. And I was like, oh, all right, let's go. I got somebody I can trust here. We're in the family together. I know he's going to look out for me. And ever since then, there's only so many people on this earth that you have a relatively few amount of interactions with, but you still know that they want what is in your best interest to happen and what is in the best interest for everybody to happen. And that's Matt. Kind of in this Peoria family, one time, one of our local judges, Frank Iruli, was down. And many of you don't know Frank. He's a very charismatic man, but a little introverted and quiet and thoughtful and a little stoic. And he's down with me, and Matt comes around the corner, and Judge Iruli goes, Jonesy, what's up, man? And I was like, this is like the second, third time I met Matt Jones. It's like, wow, this guy is really like a Peorian through and through, because Judge Iruli's like screaming across the lobby to get his attention. So that was a really neat memory. And then just most recently, when Representative Cassidy reached out to me about this, I think it it speaks about, well, Matt Jones and Representative Cassidy, that you have the prosecutor and Representative Cassidy that are like, we have this bond. And I think it speaks so much about him that, you know, he can have these fierce debates and still appreciate somebody for the reasons why we all appreciate people like Representative Cassidy. So I guess one other thing I found is that I was doing just a little research on Matt's bio, and one thing I found is it says, Matt is responsible for developing and collaborating on several new training opportunities for Illinois, including Ethics, the movie. So if anybody wants to have any homework, I know the speaker likes to give out books. Maybe if we want to have a group homework project of watching Matt Jones's Ethics, the movie, that could be something fun to do. So with that, where's my camera? Matt, I love you, brother. Vince Lombardi said, the greatest achievement any man could ever enjoy is exhausted, lying on the field of battle, victorious. And that's you, brother. You're victorious. God bless you. We're so proud of you. We're so proud of you to have you in this Peoria family, and your legacy will last generations. Thank you.
Representative Slaughter, for which purpose do you seek recognition?
Point of personal privilege.
Please state your point.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also wanted to take a moment here just to recognize our great friend, Matt Jones. Matt and Sandy, I know you're listening right now. Matt, I wanted to thank you just for, you know, what you meant to me in my career, but as you've heard, Matt, you've meant so much to so many here in Springfield and here in the chamber. Just chairing Jew Crim over the last 7 years, I've worked a lot with you, Matt. We built a special bond, a positive and quote-unquote productive bond. We, all of us, Matt, just really appreciate just how kind and caring of a soul you are, such a hard worker. You represented the State's Attorneys Association so well. You truly just exemplified what it means to be a collaborative partner and a collaborative stakeholder here in Springfield. Like most of the Dems, my relationship with Matt started off rocky. I remember it was my first day of Jew Crim, not as the chair, but just as a ranking member, and Matt met me literally at the front door, and I'm like, "Hey, man, how are you?" You know, I'm Rep. Slaughter. I walk in, and I remember turning over to then Rep. Sims and Rep. Cassidy, like, "So who is this guy? What's up with this?" And both of them really just eloquently articulated to me, "Hey, if you want to be impactful in this space and on this committee, make sure that you introduce yourself to Matt and get a chance to talk to him." So, you know, I'm like, okay, so I'm getting out of my seat, and both of them like, wait. Please know, he is going to oppose all of your bills, but he's going to be great to work with. And I'm like, okay, and they were exactly spot on. Matt, you and I built a bond. I mean, there was times where, you know, Matt, you and I would talk, you would pretty much rip my bill apart, like, hey, we don't like this, we don't like that, we don't like this. And I would give him that look like, hey, you know, hey, bro, I think I'm moving this. And he looked back at me, he pulled me to the side, and he whispered and said, well, you know, if you really want to move this, these are the couple points that I would highlight for you. He was one of one, ladies and gentlemen, one of a kind in how he collaborated with members. It was just a special professional that we're talking about here, an ability to agree, to disagree, but also to pour in time and energy and effort to reach consensus. That's who you are, Matt. We thank you for your commitment. We thank you for your dedication. A true giant when we talk about our public safety community, our criminal justice community. We want to thank you for everything that you do, Matt. We're proud of you. You've shown, and many of us have been following you over the last, especially over the last 4 or 5 years. You've shown tremendous resilience and perseverance, and we just thank you for everything that you've meant to us. Keep fighting the good fight. We love you, brother.
Leader Windhorst, for which purpose do you seek recognition?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I first got to know Matt when I was State's Attorney of Massac County, and he was hired by the State's Attorney's Appellate Prosecutor Office. And of course, I've had the opportunity to work with him since then in my current capacity. One of Matt's roles with the Appellate Prosecutor's Office is to provide training, advice, and assistance to the 102 state's attorneys. And this was particularly important to those state's attorneys' offices that had just a few attorneys, like Massac County, where I served. And yes, Rep. Weaver, I have seen Ethics, the movie. The assistance and advice Matt would give would prove to be invaluable. He would remind us of the awesome responsibilities that come with the position of prosecutor. That we as state's attorneys have the greatest client anyone could have, the people of the state of Illinois. That our job is to seek justice, not merely convict. That we as prosecutors should behave ethically and treat people fairly while working to preserve public safety and protect our communities. When I think of what Matt tried to instill in us, I think this quote by former Supreme Court Justice and United States Attorney Robert Jackson explains it well. The qualities of a good prosecutor are as elusive and impossible to define as those which mark a gentleman. And those who need to be told would not understand it anyway. A sensitiveness to fair play and sportsmanship is perhaps the best protection against abuse of power. And the citizen's safety lies in the prosecutor who tempers zeal with human kindness, who seeks truth and not victims, who serves the law and not factional purposes, and who approaches his task with humility. Matt not only preaches these values, he lives them. Matt, thank you for all you've done for me, for state's attorneys, and for the people of the state of Illinois.
Thank you, Leader. Members, one more round of applause, please, for Matt Jones. We're rooting for you, Matt.